Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM, my great pleasure to welcome back to the radio Marilyn Stevens, Deputy Chair of the Otaki Community Board. Marilyn, good morning and welcome to you.
Maria, and thank you for having me.
Lovely to talk to you, lovely to hear your voice, and also I'm really looking forward to your reports because I know that you're very active in the community and that you've been working with the Otaki Health and Wellbeing people recently. What's up there?
Okay, so Otaki Health and Wellbeing is a group that advocates for the people of Otaki for their health and well-being, and it's a fairly active group, and what came out of the conversation at our last meeting was such things as the District Licensing Committee's decision to grant the super liquor chain and off-licence in Otaki. It's come under very heavy criticism, and you may have read in the Otaki Today paper, or you may not have. Mayor Guru's put a bit of a blurb in there about this very same subject. And so, the people are really upset with the council for not alerting the relevant organisations to make their submissions against the application. The community has a lot of social needs. It really does not need another liquor outlet. People are very upset. The advertisements for it did go into the local papers, but that's actually very passive. Not everybody saw it. And it was suggested that the community boards should have been submitting about it, but we actually didn't know.
Well, very interesting. So the problem here is the advertisements. I agree, by the way. I often miss things in the classifieds, and I know that that's where they tend to be. They're not exactly eye-grabbing, and if you're busy, as many of us are these days, it's easy to miss out on very important information. Now, what we have, though, is the licensing committee. It has made a decision, and as I understand, Super Liquor has got the permission to go ahead. What can be done now?
Okay, so Te Wānanga Ōrākwa is putting in they're putting in an appeal. And it's important for the Otaki community to get behind the appeal as the front end of the campaign for Otaki, to put a stake in the ground and initiate a local alcohol policy, because Kapiti don't have one.
Yes, a very good point. So you're sheeting two of those back to the council. You say that the council should have been more proactive in making sure that those advertisements were known about. Perhaps these days we should do more on the social media, perhaps. Maybe the ad in the classifieds in the paper is yesterday's way of doing things. And
I think you're right.
And the other thing is that you want the community to support an appeal to that licensing committee. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Now, the other aspect of the many aspects of work that you do, but one of them is this amazing network, the community network, the Tuesday meeting, as I quite often refer to it as. That's an amazing network for Otaki, isn't it?
It's fantastic, and it's a forum where anybody who provides a service to the people of Otaki can meet. It's on the first Tuesday of every month at 9:30 in the Gertrude Atmore Supper Rooms, and it's a place of networking and where people can help each other out. So, and the Health and Wellbeing Advocacy Group, they attend that meeting as well, so it kind of works hand in hand. And the other issue that has come from these two meetings is the housing problem in Otaki. Now, it appears that people are being pushed north from Otaki because of the expressway. So what's happening with that is people from out of town are coming into town and taking the rental properties, pushing the people that are locals that need to stay in their town, pushing them out. Our motels are full with people that can't find accommodation, so the motels are taking them, and we do have people living in cars. So that's another issue that needs to really be sorted out really quickly.
Couldn't agree more. So what's happening is you've got people, some of them from Wellington these days, and Transmission Gully is going to make that even worse in terms of a problem that we're talking about now. And they can afford higher rents, they can afford higher prices for the houses, and many of the locals, as you say, being forced up north. And now one of the issues of that is that they begin to get divided, or they begin to get separated from their social network. Nana is no longer just up the road, and you can't pop into aunties anymore. And that really is the kind of network that makes living possible for quite a few people, isn't it?
Well, that's right, yeah. And it's really important for your mental well-being.
Yes.
Your mental health and all of that sort of stuff. You need to have your whānau around you. So it's an issue, and it's an issue that can't be solved overnight, but it needs to be worked on very quickly.
Now, what's happening with Rotary, Marilyn?
Well, Rotary's my baby. I am the district governor nominee for Rotary, so in 2022-23 I'm going to be the district governor.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited about that. And so I will be looking after from Taranaki across to Dannevirke and down to Wellington. So we have lots of exciting things going on there, and on this Friday it's World Polio Free Day.
Yes.
We're trying to make our world polio free. We're not quite there yet. So if you're commuting on the trains, you might see a sea of red people. There'll be people with red T-shirts on promoting the World Polio campaign, and we'll be fundraising on Friday. There will be a sausage sizzle at the Wellington railway station, and if you can, dig deep. There's also going to be a sausage sizzle outside Kapiti Mitre 10 on Saturday, raising funds for the same thing. So that's going to be a really big weekend as far as the polio awareness is concerned. We're not there yet, and we're only one flight away from any of these awful diseases, so we need to really wipe it out.
Well, we've certainly learnt a lot about that in the last year, haven't we? This amazing year that is 2020. Yeah. Marilyn, just before you go, and I realise you're popping off to a briefing very shortly, back to the Health and Wellbeing Committee. Did that committee discuss the cannabis referendum, and has it got a view on cannabis? Because we're now awaiting the results of that referendum. And I imagine for a community such as Otaki, there must have been some discussion about it.
There's been a lot of discussion about it. I don't think our forum can have a collective view. What we did learn from that, though, is that alcohol has a worse social impact in our town than what drugs do. Alcohol is it's the
worst drug.
Yeah.
It is a drug, let's face it. It is a drug.
Yeah. And it causes all sorts of social problems. And in our town, we've been told from very good authority, it has worse impacts than the drugs do. So I'm not sure what the collective response is. I can tell you my own responses. I personally feel it's a health issue. I don't think it's a law issue. I don't think people should be made criminals because of their addictions or whatever they do to get their supplies, or what they do afterwards. That can be criminal, but their addiction problems are not criminal in my eyes.
Well, that's what the referendum was all about. And I'm a little bit encouraged about what's happening with smoking, because many of the younger people have given up on smoking, cigarettes I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
And that's due to a massive education campaign. And as I understand it, that is what is proposed in the cannabis referendum, that the monies that are raised through various licensing will be spent on an education campaign so people can realise that particularly for young people, there is an issue with cannabis. So perhaps we just need to know more about it.
It's all about education, isn't it, really?
It sure is. Marilyn, that briefing beckons. I am very grateful you could join us this morning. Thank you so much for your company here on Beach FM 106.3.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a good day.
106.3 Beach FM.